Greetings and salutations, Sunrise, my fellow Chimera. I'm just going to throw out a quick video right quick. Anyway, I was having a conversation with somebody who said something to me that was mind-boggling, so I'm going to address it. Politics. So I was in the chat and I was speaking with a couple writers, and we were talking about world building. And I said, if you want to see how something influences your world, take a look at what it does to money, religion, and politics. And one of the writers in the chat said that those things don't come up in my story. That's a pretty boring story. And then it occurred to me that most people don't know what politics actually is. So I figured I'd start with that. By the way, as I get better, the videos will get better and not before. Okay, so politics from the Greek means affairs of the cities. It is the set of activities that are associated with the governance of a country, state, or area. It involves making decisions that apply to groups of members and achieving and exercising positions of governance. In short, it is organized control over a human community. Now, when a lot of people think politics, they think hard politics. They think about palace intrigue, people jockeying for power, everybody's chasing after the throne, somebody wants to be master of coin and hand to the king, and yada, 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 yada. And that is hard politics. Hard politics involves standing armies, the rights and privileges of royalty, cops, guards, who gets to carry weapons, who doesn't, right? But then there's soft politics, which is basically the social norm. So you might live in a society where it's okay for two fellas to get married, and you might live in a place where that sort of thing will get you lynched. Women having the right to vote, women having the right to speak up at a council meeting, whether or not witchcraft is allowed in your community. Speed limits, the King's Road, all of this stuff is politics. Politics isn't this thing for the elitist highbrow to do behind closed doors and the rest of us get to, truffle around through the fallout of their decisions. Politics is everything that influences how a community operates. So don't shy away from politics thinking it's this big grand thing. If you live in a society where everybody practices magic, you're going to have a very different story than if you live in a society where magic is outlawed. It's going to change, that single thing is going to change the entire dynamic of the story. And not only of the story, of the world. So if you want to get into things just for how minute politics can influence a story, if the king taxes people to poverty, so everybody's poor, the resourcefulness, the hardiness of these people is going to be completely different from people who come from a bustling, prosperous society, right? If you are used to being hungry and dirty, you get strong, you get inventive, you get creative. So there are very few stories where you're going to completely remove money, religion, and politics from it. As a matter of fact, aside from a guy sitting in a room daydreaming, I really can't think of one that could do that. If you have a formal Western government, like you have a king, a queen, an empress, and yada, 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 then you've got all the affairs of state that come from people who don't really have a job trying to accumulate more power. And that's usually how that plays out. But if you have a society where it is a tribe and it's ruled by elders, then everybody typically has a very particular job, a very useful set of skills, and they apply it in a way that's best for the community. Until you reach a certain level of prosperity, the function of the group is to provide for the group because you need each other. And once you reach a certain level of prosperity, then you start finding, just like useless, pointless greed and these stories that are all, like mental masturbation, this circular logic. This prince wants to be king. Why? To have more of what he always has had? I don't know. Doesn't interest me too much. The most important thing about politics and how politics affects a story is it dictates the terms of the growth of your character. Okay, so my book series started out with book 4, then we jumped back to book 1 to fill in the gaps. When we move on to book 5, you're going to find that Shifa is more powerful than he's ever been but he's left home. And in the wider world, magic is completely restricted, as in the government controls who uses it and how. Think of uh, magic as telecommunications, right? Like if you want to open a business, you got to get certain permits and do this, and you got employee rules and yada yada yada, all of this kind of stuff. So his most powerful weapon is something that he has to use sparingly, and it has to be used cleverly and in secret, so that he doesn't bring down the entire world government on him in each and every adventure for everything he does. So although he has achieved the power that he sought through the initial trilogy, now it's not about wielding that massive power. It's about limiting how much of that power he uses and how he uses it, so that the benefits outweigh the casualties, the cost. So the politics of a thing really determines the setting of your story, the goal of your story, and the particular hurdles you're going to have to jump for your characters to evolve. Unless, of course, your characters don't evolve. And that's cool too. Like James Bond doesn't evolve. He's exactly who he was, and I love James Bond. Anyway, that popped into my head. I figured I'd throw together a quick video right quick. I've got to stop saying a quick video right quick. Anyway, until next time, and stand in until I come up with some cool sign-off. Peace.